Subpart D. Subpart D. Subpart D. Definition, classification, packaging, group assignment, exemption, hazard material other than Class 1, Class 7 material. 173, 115, Class 2, Division 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, definitions. Division 2, 1, flammable gas for the purpose of the subject of the flammable gas. Division 2, 1, me, with any material with a gas of their 68 degrees Fahrenheit or less, or 14 psi pressure with the material with a boiling point with a 68 degrees Fahrenheit with a 14 psi, which is ignitable with 14.7 psi with a mixture of 13% or less volume of air, has flammable the range of 114.6. 14.7 psi with the air, at least 12% regardless of the lower limit except for the aerosol limited specified in A1, A2 with the section shall be determined in 101. 3. The 14.7 psi A with the pressure with the temperature at 68 degrees and according to the method of the concentration limit of flammable and chemical with the other equivalent method approved with the associated mixture of the flammable materials aerosol determined by the test specified in paragraph 1 of the section division 2 non-flammable, non-poisonous compromised gas for the increase include the compromised gas, liquid gas, and pressure of the cryogenic gas, the compressed air gas solution, asphyxiated gas, oxidizing gas for the purpose of the subchapter of the non-flammable, non-poisonous compressed division 2 means a material with a mixture which is exerted the packaging with a gauge for the pressure of the 48 psi, a greater 68 degrees Fahrenheit liquid with a gas and cryogenic liquid. It does not meet this definition for the Division 2, 1, 2, 3. Division 2, 3, gas poison and inhalation purpose for the substance for the gas poisonous inhalation. Division 2, 3 means for the material whichever the gas of 68 degrees Fahrenheit or less. Pressure of 14.7 psi material with a boiling point of 68 degrees Fahrenheit, the 14.7 psi A. If it's known to be toxic to human with the purpose of the whole have the health during the transportation absence adequate data of human toxicity presumed with the toxic humans because of the tested laboratory has an LC50 base 50 number of 50 value no more than 5,000 millimeters meter C 173.16A. Subpart assignment of the hazards A, B, C, D with a LC 50 base of 50 value with a mixture that determine using the formula I-173, 133, B11, CGAP20. Non-liquefied gases which are a gas which is packaged with the pressure for the transportation entirely with the gas of negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit with a critical temperature less than negative 50 degrees Celsius or negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit is considered to be a non-liquefied compressed gas. Liquefied compressed gas which is packaged under the pressure for the transportation partially with the temperature above negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit. If considered a liquefied compressed gas is further categorized as follows: high pressure liquefied gas, which is the gas critical temperature between negative 50 degrees Celsius and 149 degrees Fahrenheit, 58 degrees Fahrenheit with 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Low pressure liquefied gas, which is gas with critical temperature above 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Compressed gas solution, with the compressed gas solution is non-liquefied compressed gas, which is dissolved in the solvent. Cryogenic liquid. A cryogenic liquid means refrigerated liquefied gas having the boiling point colder than 130 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.47 psi absolute with the material of the medium with the definition of the subject of the requirements of the subchapter without regard whether there meets the definition of the non-flammable non-poisonous compressed gas. In paragraph B of the section flammable, the range the term flammable range may be the difference between the minimum and maximum volume percentage of the material in air with the form of the flammable mixture. Surface pressure for the term surface pressure from the with the authorized pressure mark for the package for the example the cylinder marked dot 318 100 with the surface pressure of 12,410 over the 118 psi gauge. Refrigerant gas, the dispersant gas, the term of the refrigerant gas, the dispersant gas supplied with the non-poison refrigerating gas, dispersant glass, fluorocarbons listed the 172, 101 subchapter 107, 304, 314C and 315C with 315H, the mixture of the air over any other compressed gas having the vapor pressure not exceeding 26 psi at 130 degrees Fahrenheit, used only with the refrigerating dispersant and blowing agent. For Division 2, the gases over the oxidizing ability should be determined to test the calculation according to ISO 10157, including the technical corrigendum 1, IBR 171.7 of the subchapter of the following applied with the aerosol 171A. The subchapter aerosols must meet the Division 2 contents, including the 85% of the more flammable components of the chemical heat with the combustion of 30 kilojoules a gram, or aerosol must be assigned within 2 of the 1% of the less flammable components heat with the combustion less than 28 kilojoules a gram. Aerosol not meeting the provision in paragraph 1112 of the section and classified in accordance with the appropriate test of the UN manual testing criteria. IBR 171.7 is the subchapter of the aerosol will be tested in accordance with the requirements of the subchapter of effect of December 31st, 2005. It is not required to be retested. Division 2-3 gases may not be transported with the aerosol containing the content of the classified in the Division 6-1 PG3, Class 8 PG2 with the 3 with the aerosol that has been assigned with the subsidiary hazard for the Division 6-1 Classes 8 with the appropriate substance of the Division 6-1 PG1 with the PG2 substance of the Class 8 with the PG1 are forbidden transportation in aerosol containers. Flammable components are classed in 3 flammable liquids in Division 4-1 flammable. Solid Division 2-1 flammable. The chemical heat of the combustion must be determined according to the UN manual testing criteria. Absorbed gases, gas worm in the package transport absorbed the only onto the solid purpose of the material resolving the internal receptacle pressure of less than 101 kilopascals at 20 degrees Celsius, less than 300 kilopascals at 50 degrees Celsius. 171.16 Class 2 assignments of the hazard zones. Hazard zone Class 2 Division 2-3 materials assigned with the column 7 of the 172.101 table. There's no hazard zone with the Division 2-1-2-2, but there was 172.101. Takes provide more than one hazard zone with the Division 2-3 with the material to indicate the hazard for the zone determined with the basis of the group criteria with the Division 2-3 hazard zone shall be determined in appropriate line with the following criteria. And then the criteria specified in paragraph A of the section represented graphically in 133, figure 1. 173, 117, 119 reserve, 173, 120 classified class 3 definitions. Flammable liquid for the purpose of the subtype of flammable liquid class 3 means liquid having the flash point no more than 140 degrees Fahrenheit. A material liquid phase the flash point or at or above 100 degrees Fahrenheit is initially heated and offered with a transportation transported above the flash point is bulk packaging with the following exemption: any liquid meeting of the definition 173.115, a mixture having one or more of the component with a flash point of 140 degrees higher than the makeup of less than 90% of the total volume of the mixture. Mixture is not offered with the transportation transported above the flash point. Any liquid flash point greater than 95 degrees is designed sustained combustion according to the ASTM-D 420.06 or the procedure appendix H of the part, and liquid with flash point greater than 95 degrees Fahrenheit on which of the fire point greater than 212 degrees Fahrenheit according to the ISO 2592, and liquid flash point greater than 95 degrees Fahrenheit which is the water miscible solution water content no more than 90% of the mass. Combustible liquid 1. For the purpose of the subchapter of the combustible liquid, mean the liquid that does not meet with the definition any of the hazard class specified with the subchapter of the flash point above 140 degrees and below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Flammable liquid with flash point above 100 degrees Fahrenheit does not meet the definition of the other hazard class must be reclassified with the combustible liquid. The reason not allowed with the transportation by vessels, aircraft, except with the way other mean with the transporting impractically elevated with the temperature for the material that meets the definition of the class 3 material because of the intentionally heated off for transportation transported at and or above the flash point may not be reclassed in combustible liquid. Combustible liquid it does not sustain combustion, not subject to the requirements of subchapter of the combustible liquid. Either the test method of the ASTM D4206 or the procedure of the appendix H of the part that must be determined in material sustain combustion when heated. Under test conditions above the external source of a flame flash point mean the minimum temperature with the liquid gives off with the vapor with a test vessel sufficient concentration and form of the ignition and ignitable material with the air nature of the surface of the liquid shall determine with as well the homogeneous single phase of the liquid have the viscosity of the 45 SUSs at 100 degrees Fahrenheit does not meet the surface of the film with under the test of one with the following testing procedures shall be either the same method tested for flash point with the tag closed up the copper test the standard test method the flash point liquid by a small scale with the closed up apparatus and or standard test method the flash point by a small scale tester and for liquid with one of the meeting at all criteria with the paragraph C11 with the section only with the following test procedure must be with the standard test method the flash point with the Pence County partons of the class closed cup tester. For cut back in asphalt with the method of the B with the ASTM D293 with the alternative test authorized with the standard test method of the flash point with the liquid small scale with the scale with the clean closed cup of the apparatus to determine the flash point number of the flash point closed cup with the equilibrium method. Determine the flash point with the closed cup with the equilibrium method. Determine the flash point with the Penske part closed cup method. Determine the flash point with the rapid equilibrium closed cup method. And determine the flash number with the flash with the rapid equilibrium closed cup method. Determine the flash point with the able closed cup method. For liquids having the mixture of compounds that have different violated flash point with the flash point which shall be determined with the specified with the paragraph of the section of the material of the inform which is to be shipped and determined the test of the flash point higher than 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Second test shall be made as foul with the portion of the mixture shall be placed on an open breaker and similar container and such dimensions for the height of the liquid can be adjusted with the ratio of volume of the liquid exposed and stripped of the air with 6:1. Liquid shall be allowed evaporated or under the ambient pressure for the temperature 20 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, 68 to 77 degrees for a period of 4 hours until the 10% of the volume of the evaporated with which are come first with the flash point of the run of the portion of the liquid remaining of the evaporation container. Lower part over the two flash point that shall be flash point of the material. Flash point is determined by the set of flash codes tested for the glass single syndrome specified with the need not to be used the method of measuring of the test to sample the minimum quantity of 2 millimeters, 1/10 of an ounce, measure of the test cup. Experience other than indicated with the head of the material with the greater than less indicated with the criteria specified in paragraph A and B of section, and the associated administrator revive the classification make of the material subject for the non-subject for the requirements of paragraph parts 171, 185 subchapter. Transitional provisions class 3 classification criteria in effect of December 31st, 2006 may continue to be used until January 1st, 2012. 173, 121 Class 3 assignment of the packaging group. The packaging group of Class 3 material assignment with the class from 5 column 5 with the 172-101 table. When the 172-101 table provides more than one packaging group with the hazardous material for the packaging group must be determined by applying the following criteria. Packaging group 1 and 2 boiling points, flash points. Initial boiling point of Class 3 material may be determined by either one of the following testing methods. Standard test method of distillation petroleum products at an atmospheric pressure. Standard test method of the distillation range of the volatile organic material. Petroleum products determine the distillation character of the atmospheric pressure. The petroleum product determination boiling range distribution gas chromatography method violated. Volatile organic liquid determination of the boiling range organic solvent and the raw materials. Criteria for the inclusion of the viscosity Class 3 materials package 3 group. The viscosity 3 material of the packaging group 2 flash points are less than 73 degrees Fahrenheit may be grouped with the packaging group 3 provided with less than 3% of the clear of the solvent layers separately with the solvent temperature separate texture test. The mixture for the any supported solvent does not contain the substance of the primary subsidiary risk of the Division 6-1 Class A with the capacity for the packaging not more than 7.9 gallons except for the transportation highway rail with the cargo aircraft with the capacity for the packaging not more than 26.3 gallons. Viscosity and flash point according with the following table. The measure of the which for the test for the referred in paragraph B1 of the section shall be preferred as follows with the viscosity for the time the flow over the time seconds determined 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit ISO standards cup of the 16 hundredths of the inch set forth in the ISO 2431. Where the flow time exceeds the 100 of the farther test that is carried out with causing the ISO standard with up to 24 hundredths of the jet inch of the jet. Solvent separation test the test is carried out with 70 degrees Fahrenheit with the 3 ounces of the measuring solvent stopper type with the approximately 9.8 inch of the total of the height with the uniform internal diameter with approximately 1.2 inches over calibrated section for the sample should be disturbed with the obtainment of the uniform consisting of the poured up to 3 ounces of the mark with the stopper should be inserted with the cylinder left standing undistributed with the 24 hours. The 24 hours the height of the upper separated with the layer may be measured with the percent of the layer as compared with the total height of the sample. Calculate the transitional provision for the criteria for the package group assignment effective with December 31st 2006 will continue to be based on the January 1st 2012. 173, 124. Class 4 and Division 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3. Definition. Division 4, 1 flammable solid for the purpose of the subchapter flammable. Division 4, 1 many with the means for the following 4 types of the material for the desensitized explosive that when dry explosive Class 1 other than those compatible with Group A with the wetted with sufficient water, alcohol, and plasticizer for the suppress the explosive properties and are specifically authorized with the name either of the hazard material of the table of 172-101 subchapter that has been assigned with the shipping of the name of the hazard class of the associated administrator under the provisions of special permit issued under the subchapter A of the chapter of the issued under 173-56-1 self the reactive with the material with the thermally unstable of the cargo undergoing the exothermic decomposition even when the outer participation oxygen air of the material is excluded with the definition of any of the following applies. Material meet the definition explosive prescribed in some Part C with the division cows. In this case, must be classed as an explosive material forbidden with it being offered with the transportation according with the 172-101 subchapter 173-21. Material meet the definition oxidizer organic peroxide with the prescribed in the subpart within which for the case it must be classed with the materials needed to be one of the following conditions: heat with the decomposition, lift to 3 joule grams. The self-accelerating decomposition temperature of the grade within 167 degrees Fahrenheit. 50 kilogram packages. Its oxidizing substance of the Division 5-1 containing less than 5% of the combustible organic substance for the associated administrator that has determined the material does not present with the hazard associated with the Division 4-1. Generic types. Division 4-1 self-reactive material is assigned with a generic system consisting of the several genetics of the self-reactive substance identified by the technical name self-reactive materials table 173.224 with the assignment of the generic that corresponds with the table of the self-reactive material is not identified in the self-reactive material table 173.224 is assigned with the generic type of the under procedure of the paragraph 2.3 section. Tape A with the self-reactive material of the type A with the self-reactive material of the package for the transportation. Can detonate, defragmentate rapidly with the transportation with the type of A self-reactive material with the sorbent, type B with the self-reactive material, type B with the self-reactive material with which is packed with the transportation. Detonate with the deflagrates rapidly with the liable to undergo with the thermal explosion in the package. Type C with the self-reactive material with the type C with the self-reactive material with the package of the transportation either detonates, deflagrates rapidly with cannot undergo with the thermal explosion. Type D self-reactive material. Type D self-reactive material with which the detonates with the partially with it does not deflagrate rapidly show with no violent effect with which the heated arm of the component does not detonate at all, but the deflagrate slowly, show no violent effect with the heated under the confinement and or does not detonate, deflagrate, and all shows the medium effect with the heat under the under confinement. Type B, self-reactive material with the type E with the self-reactive material with laboratory testing. Neither detonates nor deflagrates at all, shows only low and no effect with the heat under the confinement. Type F, self-reactive type of the type F self-reactive type, which is the laboratory testing either detonate with the cavitated state with the deflagrates, all to show only low, no effect with the heat under the confinement, as well as low or no explosive power. Type G self-reactive type of the material. Type C self-reactive material which the laboratory testing does not detonate cavitated state, will not deflagrate at all, show with no effect with the heating under the confinement, nor show with any of the explosive power. The type G self-reactive material does not show with the requirements of subchapter of the self-reactive material in Division 4-1 provided the thermal stability with the self-accelerating decomposition temperature of 122 degrees Fahrenheit or higher for 110 pounds of packed self with the reactive material with meeting all the characteristics of type G except for the thermal stability because class in type F of the self-reactive temperature and control material. Procedure for the assignment of the self-reactive material with the generic type of the self-reactive material must be assigned with the generic type that based on it's a physical state of liquid with the solvent in accordance with the definition of liquid is solvent in the 171A with the subchapter determined as in control of the temperature, emergency temperature, if any under the provision 173.21F of the performance of the reactive material of the test, specific accordance specified in UN manual testing criteria of the end of provision with the paragraph 2A3 with this section, except for the is of the self-reactive material provided with the technical name self-reactive material of the table with the 173.224B with the self-reactive material that may be shipped within the sample division 173.224. Self-reactive materials approved with the associated administrator of the person that's required for the approval shall submit with the associated administrator shipping description with the generic type. All relevant concern with the physical state with the temperature control of the test result of the approval of the issue with the self-reactive material within component with the authority of the foreign government of testing the generic type of the self-reactive test material must be determined in the testing protocol with the figure with the 2A and 20.1A and B with the floor chart scheme of the self-reactive substance the organic peroxide for the UN manual test criteria. Readily combustible solid liquids. Solids are material they are. Solids may be caught with the fire through the friction such as the matches. Such burning rate with the faster than 87,000 over the per second with the testing core for the UN manual of the test criteria, or any metal powders that can be ignited with the react over the whole length with a sample of 10 minutes less than testing core with the UN manual test criteria for the polymers materials which were without stabilization without liable to undergo the exothermic reaction resulting in the formation of large molecules resulting in formation of polymers under the condition with normally encountered with the transport of the materials are considered polymerized substance with the division 4-1 self-accelerating polymer temperatures are 161 to 167 degrees Fahrenheit less under the condition with or without the chemical stabilization offer the transport with the packaging IBC with the portable tank with the material with the mixture with the transport with the appropriate IBC with the portable tank for polymers material with the advanced to be determined with the heating with the confinement the testing of the protocol with the base 7, 8, 9, 13 figure 21A and B flowchart scheme of the self-reactive substance of the organic peroxide for UN manual test criteria by successful passing UN testing series E of the non and low level of the equivalent testing but method of approval of the associated administrator. The exhibit of the heat of the reaction more than 300 joule grams and does not meet with the definition of the heads of the glass 1 and 8 including the combustion liquids. Provision concerned with the polymerizing substance in the paragraph A4 will be effective with January 2, 2019. Division 4.2 spontaneously combustion material for the purpose of the subchapter of the spontaneous with the combustible of the material. Division 4.2 with the means biophoric material with the biophoric liquid itself of the event, even with a small quantity without external ignition, so if it can cover the 5 minutes after the coming with contact with the air when tested according with the UN manual testing criteria. Self-heating materials. Self-heating materials material through the process of the gradual reaction of the substance of the oxygen and air with the general heat of the rate of the heat of the reproduction and C with the rate of the heat of law of the temperature of the substance will arrive at the after with the induction of the time merely with the self-ignition and the combustion material for the type of the exhibit the spontaneous ignition with the temperature for the example of the to 392 degrees Fahrenheit during 24 test period with the UN manual test criteria. Decision 4.3 dangerous when wet with the material with the purpose of the tap of the danger for the when met with the material of the division 4.3 with the material with the contact with the water is liable to become spontaneous flammable to give off the flammable toxic greater with the 1 liter with the per kilogram of the material with the per hour with the tested in accordance with the UN manual testing criteria. 173, 124. 125A with the class of the A is assignment of the packaging of the group of the packaging group of class 4 with the material of the assignment of the column F of the column 5 with the 172 101 table 171 172 101 table to provide more than one packaging group with the hazard material of the packaging group shall determine the base for the test result following the test method given the UN manual test criteria and applying the appropriate criteria for the section packaging group of criteria for the readily combustible material division 4.1 with the valve of the powder or granule part pass the material that must be classified with Division 4.1 the testing at the time of the burning with one or more than testing runs with the corn for the UN manual testing criteria is less than 45 seconds for the rate of the burning with more than 22.2 millimeters seconds. Powdered class of the metal alloys must be classified with Division 4.1 that can be ignited with the reaction spread with the whole length of the sample to include 10 minutes or less. Packaging group of the readily with the combustible material of the Division 4.1 are assigned as follows. For readily combustible liquid, the other metal powders of the packaging group. Two for the warning time of the left the 45 seconds of the pass of the wet zone with the package 2 for the group of the must be some of the power over the metal alloy with the zone of the reaction spread over the whole length of the sample of 5 minutes or left with the readily combustible liquid solids or readily combustible solid the other than metal power of the packaging group 3 with the must be assigned with the burning of the rate of the time of at least less than 45 seconds of the wet zone with the solid with the flame with the propagation at least 4 minutes of the packaging group 3 must be assigned with the metal power of the reaction spread over the whole length of the sample in more than 5 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. Packaging group criteria of the division 4.2 with the material of the solid with the pyrogenic liquid is solid with the division 4.2 is assigned with the packaging group 1 self-heating material is assigned. Package group 2 the material of the pod of the test result of the test within 25 millimeters of the cube side of the sample of 140 degrees Celsius. Packaging group 3 with the positive test result they obtained with the testing of the 100 millimeters sample cube at 140 degrees Celsius. If the test result of the obtained with the test within 25 millimeters of the sample with 140 degrees Celsius with the substance of the transported packaging with the volume with more than 3 cubic meters. The test must be testing with the 100 millimeter sample the cube as 120 degrees Celsius. The negative result of the obtained with the testing of the 25 millimeter sample cube at 140 degrees Celsius. Substance of the transported packaging with the volume more than 450 liters. A positive result obtained with the testing with the 100 millimeter sample cube with the 100 Celsius. Negative result obtained with the testing with the 25 millimeter sample cube with the 140 degrees Celsius. Substance transport and packaging with a volume less than 450 liters. The division 4.3 dangerous when wet material is assigned to. Packaging group 1 the material reacts vigorously with the water with the ambient temperature with the demonstrated with the tendency of the gas produced to ignite. Spontaneous which reacts readily with the water ambient temperature with the rate of the evaluation of the flammable gas equal with greater than 10 liters per kilogram of the materials over the 1 minute. Packaging group 2 with the material reacts readily with the water with the ambient temperature of the maximum of the rate of the evaluation evolution of the flammable gas of equate with greater than 2 liters 20 liters per kilogram of the material per hour, which does not meet the criteria of the packaging group 1. Packaging group 3 the material to react slowly with the water ambient temperature such that the maximum rate with the evolution of flammable gas is greater than 1 liter per kilogram of the material per hour, in which it does not meet the criteria of packaging group 1, 2. 172, 127 with class 5 of the division 5.1 division definition for the assignment of the Orlando packaging group. A, the definition for the purpose of the subchapter of the oxide of the division 5.1 mean with the material that may generally yield oxygen coupled with the enhancing of the combustion with the other materials. Solid material is class as division 5.1 material that tested in accordance with the UN manual testing criteria. And test 110.01 or 01 is used with the UN manual with the testing criteria. Subsection 3441 mean burning time less than other equal burning time 3.7 potassium bromate cellulose mixture. The test of 3/10 of the U with the UN manual test criteria subsection 34.43 with the meaning burning rate with greater than or equal to the burning rate of 1 and 0.2 calcium peroxide calcium mixture. Liquid materials glass the division 5-1 and the material with the test and corn for the UN manual with the test criteria with the spontaneous ignition with the main with the time of the pressure 600 kilopascal with the 2070 kilopascal engagement with less than time of the 1.1 to 1 nitric acid 65% cellulose mixture. Assignment of the packaging with groups 1. The packaging group of division 5-1 material with the solid shall be assigned with the criteria package run group 1 material with either concentration test if the test is 01 is UN material the testing criteria with the subsection 34.41. The meaning burn time less than the meaning burn time is 3 to 2 potassium bromate cellulose mixture. Tester 03 with the UN manual testing criteria subsection 34.43. Meaning burning rate with greater than meaning burning rate of 3 to 1 calcium peroxide cellulose mixture. Packaging group 2 with the any material which with either concentrated tested. If the test 01 is with the UN manual with the test criteria with the subsection 34.41, the meaning burning the time is less than the mean burning time of the 2 to 3 potassium bromate cellulose mixture with the critical with the criteria with the packaging group 1 are not met. The test of 03 with the UN manual test criteria subsection 34.43 with the meaning of the burning of the rate with greater than meaning burning rate with 1 to 1 calcium peroxide cellulose mixture with the criteria with the packaging group are not met. Packaging group 3 are many material with which in either concentration tested. The 01 with the is U with the manual testing criteria subsection 3441. The meaning burning time is less than the mean burning time of the 3 to 7 potassium bromate cellulose mixture with the criteria with the packaging group 1 2 that are not met. If the test 03 with U with the UN manual test criteria subsection 3443 with the mean burning rate with the greater with the meaning burning rate with the 1 2 with the calcium peroxide calcium cellulose mixture with the end criteria with the packaging group 1 and 2 are not met. The material is not classified with division 5-1 if the concentration tested. If test 01 is U with the UN manual test criteria subsection 3441, the sample tested does not ignite with the burning with the exhibit the mean with a burning time with the greater with the equal to the mean burning time of the 37 potassium bromate cellulose mixture. Alright, the test is 03 with the UN manual testing criteria with the subsection 3443. The sample of the test does not ignite with the exhibit the burning with the exhibit the meaning of the burning rate with less than the equal the mean with the burning rate with the 1 to 2 with the calcium peroxide with cellulose mixture of the packaging group of the division with the 5-1 material with the liquid shall be the sign of the following criteria package group 1 for the aim of the material with spontaneous ignite with the mixture with the cellulose with 1 to 1 ratio and material which exhibit the many of the pressure of the time rate rise the time less than pressure rise time of the 1 to 1 per caloric as the 50% cellulose mixture package 3-2. Any material exhibit the means of the pressure rise of the time less than the equal pressure of the rise time of the 1 to 1 aqueous solid chlorate solution 40% of the cellulose mixture with the criteria with the packaging group 1 are met. Package group 3 material that exhibit the mean pressure rise time less than equal than pressure of the rise of the time 1 to 1 nitric acid 65% cellulose mixture with the criteria of the packaging group 1 to 2 are met. Alright, 173, 128, class 5 of the division 5-2 with the definition of the type of the definition for the purpose of the organic product for the division 5-2 with the meaning of the organic compound with containing oxygen bivalent OO structure which may be considered the derivative of the hydrogen peroxide, one or more of the hydrogen atoms have them replaced with the organic radioactive unless there are any of the following paragraphs apply with the materials meet with the definition explosive with the prescribed in subchapter of this which is covered in classes explosive material that is forbidden with being offered with the transporting according 172 101 the subchapter of the 173.21 associated with the evidence from the material does and have the present habit of the associated division 5-2 material. The material meets the following condition. The materials contain no more than 1.0% of the hydrogen peroxide of the equivalent available oxygen calculated the equation from the paragraph of the A42 with the section no more than 1% of the ordinary flow of material containing more than 1% of the no more than 7% of the hydrogen peroxide available the oxygen content is not more than 0.5% of the determined with this using this equation. Generic type of the division 5-2 with the organic peroxide at the time of the generic type generic consider the 7th type of the organic peroxide with the identified with the technical name of the organic peroxide table is 173.225 the sum of the generic type of the corns with the table of the organic peroxide not identified with the organic peroxide table to assign with the organic generic type of the under the perceived the paragraph C with the section type A with the organic peroxide with the type of A with the organic peroxide which contaminate deflagrate rapidly packaged for the transportation transport with the type of A with the organic peroxide with the forbidden type B with the organic peroxide table B with the organic peroxide with the package for transportation neither detonates nor deflagrates rapidly can undergo with a thermal explosion type C organic peroxide with the type T with the organic peroxide, which can be packaged and transport neither detonates nor deflagrates rapidly, but it cannot undergo with the thermal expansion. Type D with the organic peroxide, type D is organic peroxide with the detonates with wind only partially, but it does not deflagrate rapidly with the nor effective with the heat with wind confined. It does not detonate or deflagrate slowly. Shows no relevant effect from the heat when confined, or does not detonate with the deflagrate with the medium with the heating under the confined with the type E with the organic peroxide with the type E with the organic peroxide with the detonate with the nor deflagrate show with the low with no effect with the heat with the under the confined with the type F with the organic peroxide with the type F with the organic peroxide will not detonate in a cavitated state. The deflagrate show only a low or no effect with the E, but it was combined in low or no explosive power. Type G with the organic peroxide, type G with the organic peroxide will not detonate with the cavitated state, will not deflagrate at all, show no effect with the heat under confinement, and show no explosive power. Type G organic peroxide is not subject to requirements for the subchapter for organic peroxide in 5.2 is provided with the thermal stability. Self-tolerant decomposition temperature 122 degrees Fahrenheit or higher with 110 pounds of packaged organic peroxide meet with all the character of the type G with except for the thermal stability requiring temperature control is classed in type F of temperature control organic peroxide procedure for the assignment of the organic peroxide generic type of the organic peroxide shall be assigned to a generic type based on a physical state liquid and solid according to the definition for liquid and solid 171.8 with the subject of the determination of the control of the temperature for the emergency temperature for the if and under the provision 173.21F performs the organic peroxide with the test procedure with the specification of the UN manual testing criteria and the provision of the paragraph D of the section and approval of the organic peroxide that must be assigned must be approved with the rating and the associated administrator before making the being offered with the transport, including the assignment of the generic type of the shipping description, with except for the organic peroxide with identified with the technical name of the organic peroxide table 173.225C. A mixture of the organic peroxide are prepared in accordance 173.225B with the organic peroxide with which may be shipped with the shipped as a sample under the provision of the 173.225B. Person applying with approval may submit with all the relevant data concerned with the physical state of the temperature control of the test. The result of the approval is issued for the organic peroxide component with the authority of the foreign government. Test. The generic and the organic peroxide shall be determined by the use of the testing protocol of the year 21A with the classing of the flow structure of the organic peroxide for the UN manual testing criteria IBR 717 of the subchapter. 173-129 Class 5 of Division 5.2 assignments of the packaging. All Division 5.2 materials are assigned with the packaging group 2 with the column 5 172-101 table. 173, 132 for the division, class 6 of the division 6 for the definition for the purpose of the subchapter of the poison material for the division with the mean with the material for the other than the gap of the genome with the toxic for humans for the forward with the hazard of the health during transportation which is the absence of the adequate temperature data of the human data on human toxicity. It is presumed that toxic is presumed to be toxic to humans because they fall within any one of the following categories with tested laboratory animals whenever the possible alien tests that have been reported with the chemical literature shall be used with the oral toxic liquid and solid of the LD actual base for the 50 with the acute oral toxicity no more than 300 kilograms. Dermal toxicity material to 101D 50 cumulative dermal toxicity no more than 100,000 kilograms. Inhalation toxicity and the dust of the mist of the LC base 50 acute toxicity inhalation not more than 4 milligrams a liter or a material saturated with a vapor concentration in air with a 20 degree Celsius greater with the equal than 1/5 of the LC base 50 with the actuate toxicity inhalation vapor with the LC base 50 with the acute toxicity inhalation from the vapor not more than 55,000 milliliters meter third. And an irritation material with a property similar with the tear of the gap of the cough with extreme irritations liquidly in confined space for the purpose of the subchapter LD base 50 medium lethal dose or acute the oral toxicity statistically derived single dose of the substance that can be exposed expected to cause the death when the 14 days 50% of the young adult albino rats were administered with the original route LD base 50 value expressed in the terms of the mass tested substances per mass for the test animal milligrams of kilograms. The LD base 50 acute dermal toxicity mean with the dose of the material which is administered for the continuous contact with 24 hours shaved intact skin or avoided abrading with the albino rabbit causes death within 14 days. Half of the animals tested. The number of the animals tested must be sufficient to give it a statistically valid result within being in conformity with the good pharmacological practices result with an extreme within milligrams of kilograms of body means. LC base for the acute toxicity of the inhalation, meaning with the concentration of the vapor emitted for the death of the administrator of the continuous inhalation within an hour must be both male and female, young with both adult albino rats, causing death within 14 days of the half of the animals tested. The material of the administrator of the animals does emit more than 90% of the particle available. The inhalation test must have the diameter of the 10 microns and less than reasonable foreseeable with such the concentration counted by the human during transportation of the result of the express of the milligram liters air depth of the midst of the milligram liter for the meters third cubed of air and per parts for the million of the vapors 173 133b with the 17 LC the 50 base determination mixture for the test when provisions of the subject of the youth of the LC base 50 the acute toxicity of the inhalation the death of the mist on the 1 hour of the exposure of the such for the asthma is not available the LC base 50. The acute toxicity of the inhalation measures for the 4 hours, the exposure for the multiply with the 4 with the product with the substitute with the 1 hour of the LC for the acute toxicity of the inhalation. When the provision is subchapter required for the use of the LC base 50 with the acute toxicity of the inhalation vapor the base on the 1 hour of the exposure site for the dead, but not available the LC base 50. Acute toxicity inhalation base for the 4 hour with exposure must be multiplied by the 2 or the more product with the substitute with the 1 hour LC base 50. Acute toxicity of the inhalation solid substance will be tested as at least 90% of the total mass is likely to be tested in respirable range. Aerodynamic diameter of the particle fraction of the 10 micron or less liquid substance should be tested as if and miss is likely to be with the leakage of the transport contaminate and carrying out the test of both solid and liquid substance with more than 90% of the mass of the specimen prepared. Inhalation toxicity testing must be in a reasonable range of the defined in paragraph B3. Alright, for the purpose of the classifying of the assignment of the package group of the mixture for the process for the oral terminal toxicity has according to the criteria for the 173, 133A, but the next necessary determining the cube of the LD base 50 with the mixture contained with more than one. The activity constitutive of the one of the following method may be either determined of the oral dermal LD base 50 with the mixture with the obtained reliable curable dermal toxicity data with the actual mixture with the be transported. If reliable accurate data is not available, if the reliable, accurate data is available, to reclassify the formulation form for the most half of the constitute with the mixture with the constitute with the present with the same of the concentration, total concentration, all active constitutes. If reliable, accurate data is not available, to apply this formula, and then the foregoing categories shall be applied with the associated meaning to determine the physical character of the material of the probable health to humans shown in documented experience that indicate that the materials will not cause serious sickness or death. I don't know which way this splits, but let's figure it out. Alright, patching group has its own with the liquids of the 173, 115 subpart of the gases. Criteria represented graphically in the figure. 173, 133 assignment of the packaging group has its own 6-1 material of the packaging group division. 6-1 materials assigned with the column of the 5 with the 172, 101 with the 172, 101 table with the provide with the more than one packaging group has its own. Of the hazardous material of the packaging group of the hazardous zone shall be determined with the applying with the following criteria for the packaging group of the assignment of the routes administered other than inhaling vapors shall be in accordance with the following table. When packaging of the group determined with the applying with the criteria for the different of the two or more routes for the administrator of the packaging group assigned with the material shall be indicated with the highest degree of the toxicity of the routes administrated, notwithstanding the provision of the packaging group, the hard zone with the tear gas substance at the time of the column 5 of the statute 172 101 table. Packaging group of the head of the zone with the division 6-1 material of the poison toxins by inhalation may be determined by one of the following: LC base 50 with the data available to each for the poison and toxic substance comprising the mixture LC base 50 with the mixture with estimated with the use of the following formula, and the volatile if each component of the substance estimated with the formula. And then using the ratio of the volatile LC base to calculate using this formula. Use the calculated the base of the LC mixture with the R with the packaging group of the mixture determined as follows. To the absence of the LC base 50 of the dab with the poisonous toxics consider the substance of the mixture with the assigned with the packaging group of the hard zone of the following simplify with the threshold of the toxicity of the test with the threshold of the test the EVA the most restricted the packaging group with a hard zone with must be determined the EVA in transportation of the mixture with the mixture assigned with the packaging group 1 has zone A with the both of the following criteria are met. The sample of the liquid mixture with the vaporized dilute when the air created with the test atmosphere with 20 millimeter with the meter third with the vaporized mixture in the air 10 albino raised 5 in the male and 5 female that are exposed with the testing atmosphere to determine the analytical method. The appropriate for the material to be classified 1 hour to observe the 4 days, 5 or more animals to die within 14 days of the observation period with the mixture presumed to have the LC base for the equal to less than 200 millimeters meter cubed. Sample the equilibrium of the liquid with the lube with the 499 equal volume of the air from the form of the test of the atmosphere the albino ref 5 male 5 female with the exposed with the test atmosphere the 1 hour with the observed with the 14 day with the 5 or more of the animals died within 14 days of the observation with the mixture presumed to be volatile equal to greater than 500 times with the mixture of the LC base 50. Alright, 2. A mixture signed with the packaging group 1 has zone B with it only with the following criteria met with a mixture that does not meet the criteria with the packaging group 1 has zone A. Liquid mixture vaporized that lube with the air creature created with the test atmosphere 100 meters cubed with vaporized mixture with the air in the air 10 albino raised 5 male with a 5 female with exposed with the test atmosphere for the 1 hour with the observed with the 14 day with the 5 more animals died within 14 days of observation. Mixture with the presumed they have with the LC base of 50 equal less than 100 meters cubed. A sample of the vapor equilibrium liquid mixture with the dilute with the 9 equal volume of the air for the form of the test atmosphere for the 10 albino ref 5 male 5 female exposed with the test atmosphere for the 1 hour with the observed with the 14 days that 5 or more of the animals died within 14 days of the observation mixture with the presumed volatility equal to greater than 10% of the LC base 50 mixture assigned packaging group with only both of the following criteria met with the mixture does not meet the criteria of the package group 1 has zone A and B. Sample of the liquid mixture with the vapor of the dilute with the air created with the test atmosphere for the 3,000 meters cubed. The vaporized mixture with the air with the 10 albino raised 5 male 5 female exposed with the test of the atmosphere with the 1 hour with the observed the 14 day with the 5 more animals died within 14 days of the observation period with the mixture presumed to have the LC base of the 50 with the equal less than 3,000 meters cubed. Sample of the vapor of the equilibrium liquid mixture with the U with the test atmosphere with the 10 albino ref, the 5 male, 5 female with exposed with the test atmosphere with the 1 hour with the observed with the 14 day if and 5 more animal die. 14 days observation day period when the mixture presumed with the viable equal to greater than mixture LC 50. Mixture assigned with the packaging group 3 with the only before both the following the criteria met with the mixture does not meet the criteria of the packaging group 1 has its own A and B of the packaging group 2 has its own C. Sample of the liquid mixture of the vapor as dilute with the air created with the test atmosphere with the 5,000 meters cubed with the vapor of the mixture of the 10 albino rats 5 male 5 female exposed with the test atmosphere for the 1 hour with the observed with the 14 day 5 or more animals died within the 14 day of the observation period with the mixture is presumed to have the LC base of the equal to less than 500 millimeters squared. The vapor measure for the liquid mixture for the measure for the vapor with the concentration is equal to greater than 1,000 millimeters squared. The mixture is presumed to have volatile equal greater than mixture transition provision criteria of the package group assignment at December 31st, 2006 must continue to be based on until January 1st, 2012.